What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Yamcast. Today is episode 91. The Yamcast is steadfastly approaching that episode 100. We still don't know what we're going to do for episode 100, so if you guys have any ideas, leave them down in the comments below, and we will definitely take a look. For the news section today, we have news from Kawasaki, a very maligned motorcycle may be coming here to the States. The VINs are confirmed. We got to talk about it. Everybody won't shut up about it on the Discord, so we got to mention it. And then we have Royal Enfield maybe making a good adventure bike as well. We've got to take a look at that. And we also have a little bit of news from CF Moto. We're going to talk a little bit about them because we've seen it's been a little bit polarizing on the channel with the opinions about these bikes. Then for the DM portion of our podcast, we're asking our Discord boys, what gets you excited about motorcycling? We want to know, what is your favorite part about motorcycling? What is the thing that gets you jazzed up to go and ready to ride your bike? Is it tackling trails? Is it going fast on track? What's your favorite part? And for the boys at home watching live right now on the Yamcast, DM Spite on Discord. What gets you excited about motorcycling? We'll read it live on the chat here. And for everyone at home, if you want, join over at yamanoob.co, and then you can watch these live and send these into us so you can watch them live as well. Finally, we have a bit of trivia for this meme contest / third part of the Yamcast. Spite and I will be going toe-to-toe, head-to-head once again, trying to see who has the most motorcycle knowledge in their brains. So sit back, relax. It's going to be a good one. Alrighty, Spite, I know you want to talk about it. Lead us in.
Yup, let's just tear the Band-Aid off. Guys, you do not want the ZX4R. However, it has been
to talk about it.
Confirmed because, yeah, we're stuck talking about the doldrums that are small CC sport bikes.
Yeah.
So, this is what I think of whenever I see these tiny inline fours. Is people get excited about them because they can make this power because they rev way out. You know, they were like, oh, there's this 250 that made like 50 horsepower back in the day, you know? I want that as my beginner bike because then I can, you know, really grow into it, and 50 horsepower is more than the Ninja 400.
Yeah.
Even though the Ninja 400 makes 47 horsepower, you know? So a lot of people are really thinking, oh yeah, these little baby inline fours, they're going to be so cool. And National Highway Transit Safety Association, I think is what that is, now has registered ZX400 VINs, the 400 PP and SP models. So they're coming, but you guys don't want one. You don't want one.
Now, let's set the stage a little bit. We know that there is a ZX4R in the, I believe, Indonesian market.
Yes.
And that's a tax loophole bike, basically, is how it was set up as, because in those countries, you are taxed on the displacement of your motorcycle, as far as I understand. And so to give Indonesian folks a sporting good motorcycle at a affordable and still performance-oriented price point and all that good stuff, they had to do a 250 for it. And if you know anything about Indonesia, those people are bike crazy. So they obviously still sell a bunch of motorcycles there. Kawasaki decided it was worth their time to build an entirely new 4-cylinder baby 250cc bike. But now I'm thinking, well, maybe we can sell baby 400cc's in America. So maybe the inline 4 isn't dead, Spite.
Could you imagine trying to, here in Texas, our highway is 75 miles an hour.
Yes.
Imagine revving out that little 400 to try and get into the power band so that you can pull onto the highway. You just sit there for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fun. I mean, I already struggle with that with 600s on the street, you know? Mm-hmm. Like if you ride an R6 or a CBR 600, not the ZX6, this has got a little more cubes, but I mean, those bikes are already like, man, this is really gutless. A 400, oh my God, it's going to be absolutely gutless.
Imagine, this is probably the most peaky power band ever.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about the R6 having a ridiculously peaky power band. This is going to be bad.
Yeah.
It's probably going to have like 5 foot-pounds of torque when it starts.
And the weird thing is, you know, we see a lot in the comments, people are clamoring for this bike. They're like, oh my God, I can't wait to get this. It's going to be so great. But to them, I ask, Why do you think it'll be so great? Please let us know in the comments if you're watching this video on YouTube. I really do want to know why you think the ZX4R will be so fantastic. Do you think it's going to be a great track day tool? Do you think it's going to be a sort of entry point for the beginner rider to get the classic inline 4 sound? Are you just excited to see another inline 4 motorcycle in the 4A? I don't know, you know?
Yeah, and I think we ought to talk a little bit about price here. So the Ninja 400 is dirt cheap for what it is. It is so aggressively priced.
I think it's under $6,000. I think it's like 52.
The Ninja 400 currently retails at $4,999.
That's a really good deal for that bike.
That is a screaming deal.
Yeah, that's a great motorcycle.
And they're saying the ZX25R pricing in other markets hovers around 25% more than the Ninja 400. So
maybe Kawai's pulling a huge brain move here. Maybe what they're banking on is they're like, okay, all these beginner riders want the inline 4 sound. R6 is getting priced to the stratosphere because people aren't buying them anymore and they don't make them anymore. They're like, if we can sell the inline 4 sound, the sound alone, for like $7,000, they will come. They will buy, you know? Maybe that's it.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna real bit. Okay. Yeah, you will get the sound, but you're not going to get anything else.
It only makes 50 horsepower, right?
But the thing
this one should make more, like 60, something like that.
But if it's an A2 bike, it's only going to be capped at 47.
That's the big problem. I hadn't thought about that. If you're making a 400 you want to sell in Europe, got to make it an A2. Maybe they'll do like the Trident. They'll make an A2 version with like the throttle restrictor and then make the regular one.
Man, could you imagine a bike that's like, it'll make all right, 400 cc. I can actually do the math right now.
Do some math.
The horsepower is RPM divided by 5252, or it's torque times 5252. So the Ninja 400 is making 47 horsepower, right? Right at 47. So I'm not going to be able to do this math on here in an efficient way.
We could do a bit of the back of the napkin math calculation here. If you take like a normal 600's power and just kind of chop it by a third, because 400 is 2/3 of 600. You know, take 30% off the top of like a 600. So about 120 horsepower. 1/3 of that is about 40 horsepower. So at most, it'll make 70 to 80 horsepower.
I would wager
at most.
I would wager about 80 horsepower and probably like 28 to 35 foot-pounds of torque.
It's so small, but I agree. Yeah, it'll probably be about that much.
R6 makes 45.
Yeah, I know.
So it'd actually be probably lower.
It'd be lower, yeah, probably like 34 foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, tops. And like 80 horsepower. But at that point, what does that compete against? In R7? Not really.
Nope.
In price, it will. In horsepower, almost. In torque, not even close. It's not an R660 competitor.
It's not going to rev up fast enough to like give you that instant punch.
Yeah, I don't really know what it's going to go up against, but again, maybe Kawai's pulling a gigantic brain move and we can't even understand it right now, you know?
I wish I could see the decision logic for making this bike.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand it. You'd have to put a restrictor on it because otherwise you're just dealing with a 47 horsepower inline 4 bike, and that sounds miserable to me.
Yeah, it would have to have a restrictor kit, all that kind of thing, but here in the States it would get sold without one. But I don't know. This is definitely a bit of a gamble for Kawasaki to do this, especially in a world where inline 4s are kind of going the way of the dodo. It's weird to make a 400cc inline 4 that's going to be Euro 5, 5+, 6 compliant, all that good stuff. And it's weird. I also don't know how many people are going to be willing to spend that kind of money for that kind of horsepower when you look at the ZX6. The ZX6 that Kawai makes is so ridiculously priced. They sell it for like $10,000, right? If you have on the showroom floor a ZX4 that costs $2,000 less, $3,000 less, especially for Americans, they're just like, I'm just going to get the 600.
Yeah.
They're never going to get the ZX4.
Also, let's pose this question. You have a bike that's making probably 65 at the wheel and like 27 at the wheel. 65 horsepower, 27 foot-pounds of torque. Is that a good beginner bike? sounds like an awful beginner bike to me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good beginner bike. I mean, I guess if you don't rev it out, it'll be super docile and relaxed, you know? I also wonder how, like, race ready it's going to be. Is this more of a Ninja 400 or a ZX6? If they're putting ZX in the name, I assume very aggressive ergonomics, dual disc brakes, upside down suspension, right?
Well, we've got the ZX25 here with upside downs. Looks like one rotor here and fairly, looks like slightly relaxed clip-ons.
Yeah, the seating position, the rider ergonomics don't look super aggressive on the ZX25. So if it's just a big bore ZX25, which honestly it probably will be to cut costs, it doesn't look super aggressive. Then it's really like, what is the point of this thing? You know?
I don't know, just a little bit, because can it compete in the like 400cc class, like in certain like race series?
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't compete in any class.
Yeah.
No class would allow for that. But yeah, I mean, this article is their prediction here is saying that it's going to point to a future cult classic, and I very much doubt that. Yeah. Personally, I don't really think so.
I guess we'll have to see. I'm fully in camp. This is a dud.
Yeah, but hey, we've been proven wrong before. So if this comes out and then all of a sudden it's selling like hotcakes, and then we got to get one as a giveaway bike and ride it and review it and own it, then we're really going to eat our words. But I don't know. I'm not really understanding this one. I think people think they want this, but they don't actually want it.
Yeah. I think
torque is the name of the game, man.
That's what makes bikes fun.
Yeah.
That's what makes them fun.
Yep. Well, moving on from the ZX4R, we have news from Royal Enfield.
Feels like we've gotten a lot of news from Royal Enfield lately, but this is actually kind of cool. This has me a little excited. Yeah,
so this appears to be some sort of higher spec ADV bike that we're going to see from them?
Yep, so they are saying that this is a new Rally Raid 450 single instead of the 411 based on the Himalayan. And just looking at these photos here, it doesn't look very Himalayan-y to me.
No, that looks like a totally different engine.
Yeah.
That looks like much more modern. I see a radiator. I see... It almost looks like a Yamaha almost.
Yeah, it looks very Tenere 700, but with a single round headlight up here. Looks like a round headlight. I mean, that's probably subject to change. But this is actually kind of a cool looking little bike right here.
Yeah, that kind of blacked out, Rally Raid, caged out look is kind of cool. And if it's a 450 and they keep the weight pretty low, they might have a big winner on their hands.
Yeah, I would. What do you wager? So the 411 is making like 30 horsepower and 21 foot-pounds of torque or something like that, I think.
I think so, yeah.
What do you think a 450 from Royal Enfield water-cooled might be?
38 horsepower, 40, something like that, you know?
Could be a DRZ killer at that point.
Yeah, honestly. It really could. I think this could be really interesting because people are really clamoring for the small, lightweight, true adventure bike thing.
Yes.
I think a lot of people see the 450s dual sports and they're like, oh, I wish this was more of like a proper little adventure bike.
Something that has legs.
Something that has legs, you know? And knowing Royal Enfield, they'll probably lean much more on that road-focused adventure side of things than trying to make some enduro crusher type of, bike.
Yeah.
So honestly, this could be a big hit.
Yeah. So we don't really have any. We don't have any details. This has just been spotted out on the road. I mean, these look like full adventure spec rims. I'm actually kind of excited about this. This could be, the thing that, who knows, maybe it dethrones even the KLR.
Yeah, maybe, as the new donkey of the world. I do see is that a water bottle at the top right?
Yeah, it looks like that guy's got his Fanta on the side of the bike. Maybe that's like funny. His catch can, and they just have it going right into the top of the bottle.
Yeah, that's actually really pretty funny. This is kind of hot on the heels of news that KTM is floating the idea of making a very small baby parallel twin adventure bike type of thing.
Yep.
A sort of KTM 490 adventure. We've heard rumors about that for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, this could be really nice depending on the price. I mean, it's Royal Enfield, so they're going to come in real small with the price. They've always been super, super value focused. And you know what? As nice as the Interceptor's been, I'm sure this is going to be fun.
Yeah, honestly, I bet they'll make a good product at a good price that a lot of people can enjoy, because it seems like they're just crushing it lately. Like, they come up with these bikes that are very value-oriented and value-driven, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to sell them to a bunch of people, and they almost always do.
Yep.
Even the Meteor 350 has been selling a bunch. I don't know how.
For some reason.
Don't know how, but it's been selling a bunch.
But there's no real news here other than this is a thing that exists, so... Yep. We're going to have to keep our eye on this one.
Yeah, it looks like a 2117 setup. Very
ground clearance?
Yeah, decent ground clearance. Pretty road-oriented tires, but you could swap that out.
Low seat height.
Subframe looks kind of Himalayan-esque, but the engine looks super different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or who knows? This could be some crazy Chinese bike, too. We don't have no idea. But the article here does say that it is part of Royal Enfield's range, but who knows?
Which gives us a decent segue into our final piece of news, and which I really wanted to use as a sounding board for a little bit more of a conversation about CF Moto here. But CF Moto is turning their CLX into an adventure bike, because of course they are. Why not? So, I mean, it's probably going to be like a little scramblery thing. Looks kind of like R9T Urban Enduro sort of deal. This
is Adventure Light for sure, but it's got a set of plates on the side of it for racks or panniers you could put on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing a skid plate, pretty low ground clearance, very road-focused tires and wheel setup, still with the upside-down suspension. Doesn't look too tall. Yeah, it looks a little very scramblery, I'd say.
Yeah. Which I think is, I mean, sure, go ahead, make a scrambler. Everybody else is.
Yep.
But, again, I wanted to use this more as a springboard to talk about the CF Moto bikes, because boy, oh boy, did we kick a hornet's nest when we released those videos.
Yeah, I mean, you wanna sound off a little bit on what you think of what happened?
Yeah, so we had Josh and Whitney go out to the CF Moto launch event that was in Minnesota, and they covered the baby sport bike and they covered the CLX. We basically looked, because they had the whole lineup out there, tons of bikes, and we looked at the bikes that were going to be there, and we were like, this is going to be important to the audience, and this is going to be important to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that because of what videos do well. Y'all like your beginner bikes, and y'all like your MT-07s.
And we were right.
And we were right. Those videos did pretty well, but there was a lot in there that, especially in the comments, where people were, I don't know if they just didn't want to believe, or they thought we were bought out.
Yeah.
Or what, but boy, oh boy, did people get mad that we had the audacity to like these CF Moto bikes.
Yeah, and we want to make it abundantly clear. I mentioned in the second CF Moto video, because we didn't mention in the first one, I just want to make it very clear. CF Moto did not pay us. We are not getting money from Big China or whatever the comments are saying. We don't have that kind of relationship with any manufacturer, let alone a brand new entrant into the marketplace. What they did was they invited us out and flew us out, Josh and Whitney, to go and try the bikes, and they gave their most honest feedback and the best feedback they could. I will say that one contributor from Revzilla put out a video that said almost the same things as we said.
Yep.
And was not met with such ire about the Chinese bikes and stuff like that.
No, we can actually pull up on the comment thread. Brandon put out his article. And if we go down, I mean, the last sentence of this article here kind of sums it up really nicely in the Socratic method here. Regardless, I feel fairly certain most riders will be pleasantly surprised by the performance and overall quality of these CF Moto machines and the level of components and number of features you get for the price.
That's a fair assessment, I think, given what Josh and Whitney told us.
Yeah, exactly.
However, the comments in our video said, we ain't gonna buy no goddamn Chinese bikes and blah, 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 and they're kind of going a little crazy with it,
so,
you know?
And the amount of, like, conspiracist thinking
yes.
in there that was like, oh no, that like rider app is going to track you everywhere you go, and it's going to send it all to the CCP and all that stuff. And it's like, guys, y'all know you have a phone in your pocket, right?
Yeah, there's American companies doing that right now with your devices. You don't need to worry about your bike. Yeah, I thought that point was really interesting. One point that is a fair criticism that I didn't see a lot of is China's sort of stance on intellectual property laws.
Yes.
This is something that you could make the case is that is a pretty poor part of Chinese business practices and the kind of way they do things is that they do blatantly copy a lot of stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah, for sure.
You can see this a little bit in the CF Moto bikes. You're like, okay, if I squint, it's kind of like an MT-07, but honestly, I mean, the new Ducati Monster kind of looks like an MT-07, so I think the styling element of it is kind of, a silly thing to get hung up on. Everything kind of looks the same now.
You could argue that, it's all in the eye of the beholder and whatnot. So, I mean, it looks fine. It's not my bag. It looks a little too retro future-y.
Yeah.
It looks fine is all I can say about it. This one also looks fine.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that it's going to be really cheap. It's going to get people on motorcycles, and a lot of people were like, oh, what about the availability of parts and the reliability? Guys, you're not going to have any issues getting parts out of China.
Yeah, you're not going to have any issues getting parts out of China, and also CF Moto already makes a bunch of parts for a bunch of other manufacturers. Oh,
yeah.
They make KTM engines, so...
I'm not sure whether it's them or QJ who does that. I actually don't remember because it's a lot of two-letter acronyms over there. So it could be QJ, it could be CF. They're probably made on the same assembly line, would be my guess. And we put out a video, I think it launched 2 days ago, where your bikes aren't made where you think they are.
No. And that's the conversation I want to have, too, is in the kind of global world that we live in, I thought it was very ironic that someone's saying, I'm never going to buy Chinese crap, probably typing that on a computer that was largely assembled in China.
Or at least on a keyboard they bought on Amazon.
Yeah, like most stuff is made in China, and we can have a conversation of whether that's good or bad, but the end result is cheap stuff, and people love cheap stuff.
They love it so much.
They love cheap stuff. They don't want to, spend $20,000 on a motorcycle when they can spend $6,000 and get something that still is on two wheels and has a good time. So I think that's where the CF Moto bikes are going to do great. They're cheap, entry-level bikes for people to go and buy and have fun with and then move on to something else. Leave the super, crazy design and high echelon stuff to your Ducatis and your Yamahas and all that cool stuff. China's just getting started making these bikes too. I remember, not that I remember it, but I've seen tell from like the 50s and 60s when Japan started making vehicles, people had very similar impressions. Like, oh, Japanese stuff, that's crap compared to American-made stuff. Mm-hmm. And look what happened.
Yep.
Same with the Koreans.
Absolutely.
Korean cars 20, 30 years ago, they were like, that's crap. And now, like, Hyundais and Kias are fine, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it takes time to get good at building stuff.
Big stuff like that, too.
Yeah, internal combustion engines are weird, complex things with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And you know what? As for reliability, there is a good question to be asked there, but I would wager you're going to get plenty of life out of one of these engines. A lot of people also bringing up that Fortnite video about the oil. You remember that one?
Oh, boy. Oh, my God. I had to live with that for like a month because I think that's when we had our Aprilia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
A lot of people were saying that these Chinese engines are dirty. Yeah, they probably are, but they also probably got that out of like, your Amazon bike or whatever.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know, it's just the oil inside the engine. You can just swap it out and then it's good to go.
Yeah.
Like you buy anything from a Chinese factory, it's going to be dirty.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it costs to make it cheap,
Yep.
They can't have super clean standards and make it cheap and make it good and all this stuff. You got to compromise somewhere,
Because if they did, they nothing else would sell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Something has to give. And, it's just, to me, unfortunate that people keep comparing these bikes to Japanese bikes because they're not quite there yet, and
Nope.
They're close enough, and nobody's putting a gun to your head and telling you have to buy a Chinese bike. We just wanted to explore it because they're very much an emerging part of motorcycling, just like electric bikes and e-bikes and a bunch of other stuff on two wheels that, whether you like it or not, it's happening, and we want to talk about it to stay relevant. And CF Moto is making waves. We should talk about them.
absolutely. And you know what? I'd love to ride one of these back to back with an MT-07. Sure,
Yeah.
why not? Or let's bring it back to back with Z650.
Yeah.
You know, see if this has more personality than that just absolutely god awful parallel twin.
I still feel vindicated because we had this inkling of an idea that these videos were going to do well, and it's an important part of motorcycling to talk about, and they did.
Yep.
So we were right. You know, people are definitely interested in these one way or the other, whether you feel like they're crap or whether you're going to go out and buy one. Clearly, they've got your attention, which is what matters in today's world.
Yep.
Yep. So, folks, that's going to wrap up the news for the week. We're now going to move on to the DM portion of the podcast. Alrighty, everybody, it's the DM portion of the podcast. We've asked our boys today, what gets you excited about motorcycling? I've asked them over here on the Discord. Remember, if you want to join up, you got to go over to yammynoob.co, become a member, and then you get access to the Discord, and you can send us DMs that we read on the Yamcast over here. Spike, there's lots of stuff that gets me pretty jazzed up about motorcycling. Give me maybe 2 or 3 things you really like. What gets you excited about motorcycling?
Well, first and foremost, I really like working on motorcycles. I love wrenching on bikes. It's a lot of fun for me to go in, have a project, install it, and see it working. You know, one of the coolest things was building out that 1275 Sportster. And it was like 2 days in the shop and desperately worrying whether or not the bike was going to work. And
then joke's on you, I jumped on it and ruined everything. What else is new?
But yeah, I mean, the first time I fired that thing up when we were doing the heat cycling, I was like, oh, damn, it works.
Yeah.
Sweet. You know, obviously it's a Sportster engine, so you could basically start it without the cylinders on it anyway. But, you know, that was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I also like, it's something that I've experienced more so this year when I got the KLR, was the just sort of exploratory aspect of it. I love going places on my motorcycle and seeing new things. Driving up and riding through the Black Hills and the forest was just unreal on the KLR. Tons of fun. But how about you?
Man, for me, I've got a couple things. My first one might be a very dumb monkey brain answer, but I just really love the feeling of the visceral acceleration that motorcycles provide.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know it's a stupid answer, but it's what I've loved about them since I started riding them. And I like how different bikes provide you such different feelings. I like how, you know, jumping on a Ducati V4S gives you that crazy top-end rush, and you feel an engine right between your legs revving to frickin' 15,000 RPM. It's bonkers. But then on the flip side, you get on a high-powered, like, enduro bike or a motocross bike, and you're like, wow, it's got all the torque. This is so much fun. So there's something about that visceral feeling. But the second thing for me that I really love is treating it like a craft and getting better at it. I really love the feeling of going back and repeating something and practicing it perfectly and getting it right and knowing that I'm doing the right technique and riding the bike in this good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really like that feeling. That's why I'm a pretty, you know, junkie at the track. I just love going there and getting it perfect.
I mean, there is something really fun about using the bike the way it was designed.
Yeah.
Because everything just feels perfect. You know? Like when I was running the R7 at Crescent, I was like, oh, damn, this feels phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, it's so cool to get to use it exactly how it was designed.
Yeah, because you just don't get that feeling whenever you're on a twisty road in a canyon, but when you're at a track or something, you get to just really unleash it. You're like, wow, this is what it's supposed to do. But as a note, it's funny how yours was working on bikes. That's probably my least favorite thing on motorcycles. I do it when I have to, but otherwise I just like using them.
Yeah, no, I enjoy wrenching on it. I don't like fixing mistakes.
Yes, I hate that.
That's really, really annoying, and I'm going to have to do it this weekend. But I do like actually working on it because it's just a fun little Zen project for me.
Yeah.
But let's turn it over to the Discord, boys. We've got a whole bunch reaching in now.
Now they reached in.
Yelled at them. So starting us off, we got Full Metal Corgi.
Full Metal Corgi says, I get excited for motorcycling because I can get 20 minutes just alone. Don't get me wrong, I love my family, but sometimes I just want me time. I also like to build dumb to satisfy my inner 12-year-old. Yeah, for me, I know you're a little different, but for me, motorcycling is definitely a place where I get solo Zen time, and I really do love that about it.
Yeah, that is kind of meditative out there for sure. Racer X is next.
Racer X. Motorcycles get me excited because it's the ultimate feeling of freedom. I take back roads, and to me, it feels like I see everything in a more personal manner. Yeah, I mean, traveling in a car versus a bike, there's just no comparison.
Yeah, I mean, remember that first time you get stuck in a rainstorm and you can smell it through your helmet?
You can smell it before it comes.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, man, it's about to rain because you're outside.
Yeah.
It's a really cool feeling.
Yeah, that's something that you only get on a bike. And it's so different. Like, yeah, you can have a top down on a car. But
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Now we got B Kelso 40.
They say, honestly, what gets me excited right now is just to be riding again. I sold my first bike, Ninja 500R, after I finished grad school, so I didn't have time to move it. So I didn't have to move across country, and just bought a new bike this year after 12 years away from riding. Wow. I can't imagine not riding for 12 years.
Yeah.
The feeling of getting back on is probably awesome.
Yeah. I remember when I didn't have a bike for like 6 months, and I was just itching to get back on a bike. It was crazy. I don't know how you made it 12 years.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Road Rage 810.
They say riding is a fantastic help for me, as it seems to be one of the few things that help calm my PTSD when I feel it coming. That and the soothing sounds of Yam's voice help greatly. No homo. Yeah, I know it sounds stupid, but his rambling and ranting are calming for some reason. Man, maybe I need more therapy than I thought. I would agree with that last sentiment. I've never been told my voice or my cadence is soothing. It's more frenetic and high speed. We've actually done this where I literally speak 25% faster than you.
Yes.
Because if you put you at 1.2x on 1.25x on YouTube, you sound like me. Mm-hmm. So I'm just rapid fire.
Next up, we've got Ryan Ashley.
Ryan Ashley, come on, why do I ride a motorcycle? The need for speed. That's a big one, man.
Yeah.
I think it's a big one. I think it's why when we look at our videos and you see the most watched, it's always polls.
Yes.
Always going fast.
I mean, the amount of dollar per power you get out of a motorcycle. Unbeatable.
Yeah.
So much fun. It's also better to, I think it's more fun to feel the wind going by you.
Yeah.
Because like you start going 60 miles an hour and you have to start tucking down just a little bit, and then you pop up at like $120 and you're like, God damn, I'm sail. And then you have to go back down, or Josh popping up at
200 on the Busa. Yeah, I don't know, that feeling of riding an extremely fast motorcycle never really gets old.
No.
And I'm glad I don't really own like except for the Turbo Busa, but like I ride that so sparingly that it feels like I don't really own it. But I feel like if I had that every day, it would ruin that feeling. Mm-hmm. You know?
Well, it's the same thing. Remember when we were talking to Ben about his Busa about it? Well, now that's why I needed the 1300cc injectors.
Yeah.
Because he just needs more power.
Yeah, it's like no, dude. You just need to ride it a little less.
Next up, we got Majin Buu.
Majin Buu, what I love about motorcycling is the freedom. It's really therapeutic, not to mention hitting some twisties and leaning over like guy who got cracked in the head with the twisted T. I don't know what that last part means, but I do agree that you got a lot of therapy and kind of freedom around motorcycling. One of our previous guys mentioned how it helps with his PTSD, and I think there's been some studies that have proven that motorcycling actually helps calm people down, because you're not... it's one of the last few things in the world where you're using every bit of your limbs, you don't have a screen in front of you, and you're focused 100%.
Yeah, you have to be 100% focused on it. You don't really have a lot of time for anything else.
You can't multitask while you're doing it. If you do, you're going to have a bad day.
Yep. Magic Toaster is next.
Magic Toaster. What gets me excited about motorcycling? It's all about G-forces, baby. Either launching off at a red light, taking some tight corners, or twisting the throttle to pass Jim Bob in his pickup truck in the blink of an eye. Getting the feeling of your motorcycle working perfectly in tandem with your inputs to push yourself even further. Hitting that apex perfectly. It's pure ecstasy. Also something about Energica. Had to put it in there. You don't hear G-forces being mentioned too often in regards to motorcycling, honestly. You hear that more with cars, because I think you can feel them when you're sitting there. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but when a motorcycle accelerates, I think some people think that it like gets low and kind of scrunches down, but really the chain pulls the wheels together and it actually raises up.
Yep. Yeah, that's part of the reason why you have the wheelie situation happen on a lot of really fast bikes, is because the wheelbase shortens and it stands up. But yeah, no, I totally get the feeling of that you're just more one with the machine. You're not just holding some wheel and just be like, we're going this way now.
Yeah.
You have to really think about where you're going. Orange 990.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
The best part about motorcycling is riding a 990 Adventure. That is all. I'm about to put you on blast, Orange, because I saw in the Dirt Boys channel that you were talking about how you dropped your 990 and then you started thinking about getting a lighter bike and how a T7 does some things better. I think we're starting to get through to him. I think he's starting to realize that there may be more to this life than a 990 Adventure KTM.
The question is, does he go with the self-sealing conspiracy theorist route where he's just like, you start slowly bringing him to the light and then he realizes what's going on and then just like clamps up forever?
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe just triples down on the 990.
Irish Trash 5 is next.
What I like about motorcycling is lane splitting in LA traffic, then getting out to the canyons, and man, it is good riding in that area.
Yeah.
Remember when we were lane splitting back from Malibu towards LAX, we were in the HOV and they had like that double wide situation with the light up paint basically, and we were just flying through everybody.
It was awesome.
Google was like, yeah, it's gonna take you 50 minutes to get there. We got there in like 20.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, dude, this is amazing, and everyone knows you're doing it too. They're not trying to kill you like they do here.
If only we had that in Texas. That'd be brilliant. X2.
X2, I love riding fast. I'm much into the challenge of translating riding theory into the real world. Whether it's track riding, dirt biking, supermotos, flat track, any difficult riding excites me. Second is road trips. When I have the destination to get to, you just feel so much more connected to the world on a bike versus road tripping in a car. Now, to raise X2 up a little bit, I actually have this meme that I put up on the server that he is the only real motorcyclist on the server because this man rode a Super Cub with a giant camping rig attached to it from LA to San Francisco, basically, for the Laguna Seca race. So that's like a 8-hour ride or something on the Super Cub.
Super Cub.
Yeah, this guy's nuts. I love X2. I met him up at the Laguna Seca event. He's a real motorcyclist.
Yeah, and the theory of riding, it works for me really well on track. Like working with the guys from the Champ School, they were able to really, impress upon you the theory. For me, there's no theory off road. Once I got to like counter leaning, it's just, especially with the KLR, it's just like I think I can do it, and I'm just gonna smash the KLR into it and see what happens.
It's funny because with certain bikes and certain types of riding, that definitely works. But man, it's crazy how like really tricky enduro stuff is like solving puzzles almost. You're like, if I get my wheel here and then I feather the clutch here and then I transition my body there and then eventually you're there and you just fall over anyway, so it doesn't matter. But there he is. He posted up a photo, Xavier's Super Cub and the big camping rig, 2 milk crates.
Eat your heart out, KLR boys.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
That's great. MT Simp.
I like the lightweight and visceral feeling of getting on the throttle and feeling the torque. And I remember this guy's the guy who upgraded from a Sportster to an MT, so now he's just like, oh my god, light torquey bikes are the best. It's one thing feeling torque on a big-ass car and another thing to be in the wind on a 400-pound rocket. Plus, I like the slight sketchiness on my MT-09 when you're just a bit too aggressive and it wants to kill you. So maybe he isn't the MT-07 guy. Maybe he's just a classic MT-09 squid. I don't know.
I mean, the difference is minimal.
It's pretty minimal. Yeah. MT boys are all cut from the same cloth. But I will say, my fiance thinks I'm crazy for this, but I know you'll understand this. I like the feeling of when I'm like, I got away with it. You know, like I almost crashed. I'm like, oh, I got away with it, I had
a moment the other day when I was on the SMCR riding home because there was just this weird rain cloud that just dumped a shitload of water. All of a sudden, I was sitting in a red light, and then I saw, a couple of drops on my helmet, and I was like, what the f***? And I look up, and suddenly, it's just like they turned on the faucet. And I'm coming around this corner, and I just feel I get on the gas a little bit, because I know it just started raining, and I feel the back end go, wee! As I get on the throttle, and it's just doing this. And I was like, I bet that looked really cool. Getting away with stuff on a bike is fun.
Yeah, I love the feeling.
Air Force 13 is next.
What gets me excited about riding is being out in the open air with nothing around you and the feeling of owning the risks you're taking and the adrenaline along with it. Yeah, I think a lot of motorcyclists, speed freaks, adrenaline junkies, it's hard to explain to people who have never ridden what being on a bike is like, where you're like, they just sell them to you like this.
Yeah.
why? This is awesome. One day they're all going to figure it out and then we won't get them anymore. But for right now, it's like, oh, you can spend 20 grand and go as fast as a Lamborghini all day.
And then you can get a tune and you can go even faster. Andronicus is up.
They say, honestly, just getting on my bike and going is enough for me. I don't go too fast, don't lean in turns too much. Maybe I'm boring, but I just like to ride. And no, I don't have a cruiser. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I think many of us have the kind of broken monkey brain that just wants to go fast. But I think for a lot of people, they just enjoy being on the bike and being out there. I feel like I'm a good 10 years away from that, honestly. I still have, I'm turning 30 this year, but I still have the need of just like, I want to do it, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I was doing the KLR trip, that one got a little old because I just didn't have any power.
Yeah.
And then when I was doing the trip on the Pan Am, I was like, whee, down the highway at certain spots and just pull it on. And, you hit the rev limiter for the tires and you're just like, oh, I know it can go faster.
Yeah.
Johnny Mish is up.
What I love about motorcycling is that it's way cheaper than doing the same thing with a car in terms of money and space, and the only cost is comfort and maybe safety, but who cares about that? And they're way easier to work on, whether you're modding or just doing regular maintenance. Man, I could not agree more. I was a car guy for a couple of years when I was younger and then didn't really have any vehicles, and then got into motorcycling, and I was just blown away by how easy things were to work on them, how fast they were, how you could get several of them and keep it in one garage. I was like, this is the best hobby ever. Like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Very much an easy N+1 hobby for sure.
Yeah.
Nikki W is next.
Nikki W. I'm super excited to go fast, but I'm also super excited to try out different styles of riding. I'm very excited about learning how to do track and figuring out what kind of rider I am. It's a new hobby, and I'm just plain excited about the new hobby as well. Yeah, that's great. I really encourage people to try different motorcycling disciplines because they're all really fun in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while to really find dirt and adventure riding, but that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Track riding's a lot of fun. It's super cool. But if given the opportunity, I would rather just go beat the KLR up on a trail somewhere.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun and it's easy to do and it's cheap and anyone could get into it.
Yeah.
Lager Lunatic.
What gets me excited is that I can be completely unreasonable with the throttle and still get better MPG than my diesel Jetta. Man, that is a good one. Yeah, I think even an R1 gets like 38 miles to the gallon.
That's insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What's the Busa getting? Like 28?
I think 20, 29, 28, something like that. High 20s. Where I was floored. I was like, I can't believe I'm getting this kind of fuel economy with this thing.
Was that before? No, we ran out of gas on the 919, not the
Busa.
Busa.
On the 919, yeah. Busa's never run out of gas before.
It almost did that
It
day.
almost did.
Satsui is up.
Bike look cool, bike go fast, bike make pee-pee tingly. In seriousness though, I'm just a petrol head who loves these two-wheeled machines, loves hearing them roar, feeling the power between my legs, and it's such a fun experience just being out on the open road on a bike. Yeah.
Sound is one of those things you just can't beat.
Sound you can't beat. We were doing a video today that you guys will check out later on next week, or later this week actually by the time this goes live, about electric motorcycles. And there's always something missing there,
Yep.
Especially since I rode the giveaway bike that will be revealed later this week the day before, and it's a little unfair to compare those two.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Rebel Rider is up.
That feeling when you drop it down to fifth on the freeway, then hammer on the throttle, losing all perceptions of reality, that is exactly what gets me excited about motorcycling. Torque, I guess, is what I love about motorcycles. Drop it down into fifth, and you hammer on, and you lose all perceptions of reality. On a Rebel? In fifth?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe we're just really warped by the bikes that we've ridden.
Yeah.
But I think you would probably want to go down to fourth, would be my guess.
Yeah, fourth or third or something. I know for me, it's like my feeling, my benchmark for that is like highway, Turbo Busa, third gear, pull throttle. And then you're just like, wow.
Be like, I hope I have enough braking distance.
Hope I don't die today.
Somatic is next.
Hey guys, for me it's the solitude. Time to clear my head with music on, riding down forest roads with the smell of trees and flowers, and feeling simple stuff like temperature changes that you just don't get sat in a cage. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is fun to explore your limits and use the machine to every ounce of its abilities and your abilities, but sometimes it's also nice to just pop open the visor and just smell stuff.
Yeah. Unless you go by, like a dead skunk.
Yeah, then it's not. Then you close the visor and you're like, hold your breath a little bit.
Bearded VTR.
Bearded Vermonter, I think that's what that might be. Excited about motorcycling. Only taken the MSF course so far and looking for my first bike, but just what I experienced in the course, the ability to just go out solo and release the stress from a long day's work and focus on you and the road. Also, since I'm a mechanical engineer by career, the idea of something to regularly wrench on gets me excited. Got a fellow wrencher right there for you. Yeah, I still remember when I did the MSF course and I went back home and I was just like, I want that forever. What I just did, I need forever in my life always. It totally changed me.
Yeah.
Totally changed me.
Milliard is next.
I drive around all day in a car as a sales rep for distillery, yet I still want to get on my bike as soon as I get home. The feeling of independence makes me feel relaxed, at peace, and a new appreciation for life. Speed is joy, smells are smellier, sounds are louder, everything is in bold and underlined. That's what I love about riding. That's a great way of putting it. Everything is bold and underlined.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is amplified for sure.
The Dr. Zero.
Just being on a bike in general is fun. I rarely get on a two-wheel machine and don't have a good time, whether that's cruising on my old Sportster, hitting some trails on my old EXC, or being a fast boy and a hooligan on the 1290 when it works. Just feeling the torque rush when you're out on the open and vulnerable is a rush. Yeah, man, I'm the same way. Anything with two wheels and power, I'm going to figure out a way to have fun with it. They're all fun.
Yeah. Hacksaw SF.
Being a hooligan. I don't always ride like an asshole, but when I do, I have a smile under my helmet. Yeah, we all have, like we said, the squid demon that sits on the shoulder and is always poking you. It's especially depending on the kind of bikes you ride.
I ride very differently when I'm on my supermoto.
Yeah.
Very, very differently. I'm reminded of that now after 8 months of not having it.
Yeah.
Just like how I ride. It's very different experience. Goon Blaster.
I loved Sunday mornings, tearing up the mountains with friends and getting lunch at a cool spot, then continuing the street Rossi. God, I miss North Carolina. Yeah, it always is fun. Just going out, destination with some buddies, getting some food, cruising on some mountain roads. It's cool in areas like North Carolina or California where like you can have proper destinations you're going to and changes in scenery. We're not that lucky here in Austin where it's pretty samey all over, so it doesn't feel like you're somewhere totally different when you go out and do that.
Yeah,
but
it is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
Last up, we got Luxray 93.
There are two main reasons that excite me about bikes: the raw feeling of a machine that works through simply physics and without any computer controlling what I want to do. The second is the thought of buying a vehicle for like $3K and going 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. Being a student is almost impossible to get the acceleration and handling of a motorcycle in a car for even close to my budget. That's what turned me from being a car guy into a mixed bike and car guy. Well, I'll tell you what. Most mixed bike and car guys I know eventually just become bike guys.
Yep.
Cars become just tools for you to do more bike stuff, really.
You're just going to get a truck.
Yeah.
It's just what happens.
Yep. Now I'm just waiting for you and Josh to ascend to truck life. It will happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
We'll see.
Alrighty, folks. That's going to wrap up the DM portion of the podcast. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're now going to move on to the trivia section. All right, everyone, welcome to the trivia portion of this week's podcast. Spite and I are once again going toe-to-toe. The Discord boys have submitted in some questions, and we're going to try to see who has more motorcycle knowledge.
Yep, it's pure and simple, nice and easy. First question from Single-Sided Swing Arm. What U.S. state is it legal to treat a stoplight like a stop sign while on a motorcycle?
In what U.S. state is it legal to treat a stoplight like a stop sign? Ooh, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be some random Midwestern state. I'm going to say Wisconsin.
Indiana.
Well done.
I know that because I actually lived in Chicago, right by Indiana, so I went through there all the time.
I see.
Because I've seen motorcycles do that, and I was like, that can't be legal. Whippy. What company was first introduced electric start as a standard feature?
Woof.
This one too.
Do you really? Mm-hmm. Wow. What company first introduced electric start as a standard feature? I'm going to say Honda.
Harley Davidson.
What? 2 for 2 now. 2-0 over here. Jeez.
I mean, that one I actually did know because, I've done so much Harley research.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm getting the strong start, but
yeah,
not going to keep it up here. What is the fastest record for a Hayabusa?
What is the fastest record for a Hayabusa?
Whitney said this the other day. Oh my God, we were just talking about this.
Oh no, I'm gonna be 3 for 0 now. Let's think. I think the top speed record for a Hayabusa, it was probably some land speed bike that was like 600 horsepower, turbocharged, all that good stuff. I'm going to say 268 miles an hour.
It's over 300. I know it's
Is
over
it really?
300. Yeah, it's 316 miles an hour.
I did
if I'm
not
not mistaken.
I did not think that a bike could go that fast.
311.
Wow.
That is so fast.
311.94 mph for a standing 1.5 mile on DOT-approved wheels and rubber. 1,000 horsepower on stock displacement. That's disgusting.
Dude, imagine doing that on DOT wheels and rubber.
No, I honestly, there's times where I'm riding the Turbo Busa and I'm like, I don't think these tires can like handle what I'm doing to them. But apparently they can.
That would be
Wild.
Terrifying.
That'd be freaking terrifying. But I guess if you're just on a big airstrip, if you come off, you're just going to slide for a really, really, really long time.
Yeah.
Really put that leather to the test. Probably flip over a couple times, too. It wouldn't be fun coming off.
You're going to want to slide a little bit on your butt, and then when your butt gets hot, you roll over.
Yeah, you roll over. I feel like you think you're starting to slow down. You're still doing 100 miles per hour. You stand up, you just tumble again. So you were close to that one. What did you say, 318?
I think I said 316.
316.
And you said
I said 268. We were both wrong. You were closer, but I say no points for either.
No points, yeah.
Yeah, if you had said like 312 or 311 or 310, I'd give it to you. But
But that is so... I mean,
that's insane.
And we still have... I don't think there's a car that's gotten 300 miles an hour yet. Like
I don't,
a stock
I don't
car.
think so. Yeah, well, a Hayabusa with 1,000 horsepower is not stock.
Well, I mean, like, they're trying to break that 300 mile per hour ceiling.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have enough.
I think it's because bikes are just smaller and more just like, they cut through the air, Cars are huge. They're like flying bricks.
Yeah. All right.
How many more motorcycles, scooters, and three-wheelers did Honda produce in 2021 compared to the second biggest producer? I think I actually know this because we've talked about it before.
How many more motorcycles,
scooters, and three-wheelers did Honda produce in 2021 compared to the second biggest producer?
It was a lot. It was a lot.
It's a lot more.
I think it was Honda and Yamaha, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was Honda and Yamaha. And I honestly think Honda made 25 million more units than the next closest competitor. I think it's some staggering number. Yeah. And they still can't win in GP.
You said 25
million? I said 25 million more vehicles.
I'm going to go 16 million.
Okay. Let's see. 10.7. Honda produced 16.8 million, while Yadea produced 6.1. Yamaha is fourth with 4.1 million.
Damn, what's Yadea?
I don't know, but Honda makes like 4 times as many bikes as Yamaha. That's
insane.
Crazy.
Jesus Christ. We're still both wrong on that one, though.
Yeah.
Close, though.
So it's 2-0 still.
2-0. Squid Ceviche.
Which Yamaha bike won the Paris Abidjan Rally and then the Paris Dakar in the late 1970s? Multiple choice here. The XT660, XT500, XTZ750 Super Tenere, or the DT650? Ooh, this is tough.
Deep cut. I think it's the XT500.
I think it's the XTZ660.
All right.
I think it's A.
I think it's B.
Oh, 3-0. Jeez.
That was a guess. I just went with the smallest one because it was the 70s. Okay, next up.
What state's highway patrol used a Hayabusa? Gotta be Florida.
You're going to go with Florida?
I'm going with Florida. Gotta be Florida.
Part of me is like, I bet you it was like Texas or Arizona or New Mexico because they got a bunch of straight roads.
That's true.
Oh, man. It's got to be one of them dumb states, though.
Like the one we live in.
Yeah, like the one we live in. Texas wears Oklahoma as a hat. I think it's like Kansas or Oklahoma. I'm going to guess Kansas.
All right.
Oklahoma. Damn it.
Oh, wow. You were so close. Loser has to do a living with video on a Honda Metropolitan.
Well, the hell is a Honda Metropolitan?
I don't know, but we'll consider what the loser video is going to be.
Yeah.
We'll have to. We're planning for content tomorrow, so we can slot it in. We can think of something fun.
Punishment video. Ride Red.
Who won the inaugural 500cc MotoGP championship in 1949?
I'm gonna guess he has a very Italian name.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Could it be Giacomo Agostini? Could it be? Is he that old? He might be. I'm gonna say Giacomo Agostini. You have no guess?
I have no idea.
Okay. I would have never gotten that. Leslie Graham. No idea.
Nope. Who was the first rider ever to go 300 miles an hour?
Bonus point. What bike did they ride? What year? Oh my god.
I think it was a woman. I can't remember her name.
Was a woman the first ever to go 300?
I'm pretty sure she rode a Gen 1 Hayabusa that was, I think, a 2006 or 2000. She definitely rode a Gen 1 Busa super turboed, but I'm pretty sure it's a woman.
Okay.
Don't know her name, though.
I don't know her name either, but I was also going to guess Hayabusa. I'm going to say it was Hayabusa, a 2001.
Okay.
What on earth? Don Vesco, a 1496cc Yamaha engendered steamliner, 1975.
I'm Googling that one. What the hell is an engendered stream?
I don't know. Well, I think we should look it up at the end of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was that gal on a Busa.
Oh, I thought it was too, but to do it in 1975 I can't even fathom that.
Did he jump out of an airplane?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the? Oh, I know.
What is the KLR 650 doohickey? I think these are just layups for you at this point. Okay, so I know you know, but I think for me the doohickey is it's not the temperature bull on your bike.
Nope.
It is. Oh, it's that thing in the case.
Left side case.
Yeah, it's the left side case.
Chain.
No, man, I don't know KLR.
It's counterbalancer chain tensioner.
Okay.
Is what it is. It's the counterbalancer chain.
Yep. It's a balance chain adjuster lever. It is known to break into pieces, and the doohickey fix is the way to do it.
Yep.
So you're now, what, 4-0?
4-0.
I'm screwed, dude. I'm screwed.
What is the first motorcycle to circle the globe?
First motorcycle to circle the globe. I'm going to say it was a... Oh, my God. I have no idea. It must have been a long time ago, because I'm sure once motorcycles kind of came out, they were like, let's try doing this.
First motorcycle to circle the globe.
Triumph Bonneville.
I could see it being some Harley something or other, like a Harley ancient one or an Indian.
Oh, it could be an Indian, yeah.
I'm going to say the, like, OG Indian Chief.
Okay.
Which I think is the 20s.
A 1912 Henderson 4.
Never heard of it.
Man, we are not good at trivia, but you are better than me tonight.
I mean, I've had a couple of layups, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, we know this one. What is the make and model of the original motorcycle in the original Top Gun movie? It's a GPZ 900. Yep. Kawasaki GPZ 900, baby. Nice.
It's the one that saved the Ninja line.
Yep. We're 5-1 now.
Such a cool bike.
Yeah. What is the reasoning behind Valentino Rossi choosing number 46 for his number? Oh, I feel like I know this. Rossi is really weird about like lucky numbers, and he's very superstitious about things.
Was that the year that was that the first year that somebody won a GP, the 500cc GP? Isn't that?
No, that was 1949, I think. 46.
I have no clue.
I don't know off the top of my head. I can't remember. Man, we're not good at trivia. It was his father's number when he placed second in the 250cc championship. Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. What brand made the fastest 250cc sport bike? I'm going to say Honda, and I think it was one of the 60s ones. I think they had like this tiny little 1960s 250 that would go like 160 miles an hour.
That would be terrifying.
It was like a little bicycle tires, like crazy race bike thing. I think that's my answer.
Okay. I'm just going to say Yamaha for giggles.
Kawasaki Kr250, only in the market for 4 years from 88 to 92. Highly sought after street racers, possibly the fastest 250cc motorcycle ever made. Interesting.
But was it fast? Like, did it get to the top speed quickly?
I think it took a while to get there.
Yeah. And that's the end of it.
That's the end. So
Woo!
you won by a landslide this week. I think it was 5-1.
Yep.
And so now we must come together and think of what a fun punishment or a goofy video could be. The Honda Rebel video did great. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, maybe we can find some other silly cult classic motorcycle brand.
Gotta be a scooter video.
Gotta be a scooter video.
Gotta be a scooter video. Yeah. Yeah, we'll think of something fun scooter-related as a fun video we can do as punishment for me losing the trivia contest. And thanks so much for hanging out with us, folks, and checking out the Yamcast. Remember, you can join as a member over at yammynoob.co. You won't regret it if you made it all the way to the Yamcast. I promise you, you'll really enjoy the Discord. It's a bunch of fun memes and degenerates and turbo boosas and electric bike people and KTM people. There's something for everybody. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Well, look at you. You've made it to the end of another Yammy Noob video. You should consider yourself pretty lucky because I have curated this one right over here for you to continue watching. It's probably just as good as the one you just saw. Unless you hated the one you just saw. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below about how much you hated it as well too. Or just keep watching this one. Make sure you keep watching Yammy Noob. Don't forget to keep watching Yammy Noob. That's the most important thing. Keep watching Yammy Noob.